Hey guys, this is Jay St. Hilaire. I'm coming to you today to talk specifically about a deal I did. This deal is on dg.com. You guys can check it out and check out my journal on deangrazielsi.com. It talks about this deal. Not this deal specifically, but this property is one of my first deals that I did right after I joined the Success Academy. And I'll tell you real quick about it. What I did was, after joining the Success Academy, I did exactly what I was taught to do. I got a hold of a real estate agent. I got a hold of the MLS and had the MLS list that my real estate agent sent me, looking for very motivated sellers, as is, must sell, handyman special, things like that hopefully you have learned already and put into practice. That property I locked up on contract from a buyer and immediately put it on Craigslist. Immediately started marketing it right after I signed the purchase offer. Even before it went to closing, I was building my buyer's list on Craigslist by putting this particular property on there. I bought it for $21,000 or $21,500, something like that. By the time it was all said and done, I think it was $39,900 they wanted for it. I negotiated it down to $21,500. I think it was $21,000 or $21,500. Anyway, through the negotiation, I did that and I immediately started marketing it. I built a buyer's list for every person that called me from the Craigslist ad, and I kept track of every single one of them on what I did was market it as a rent-to-own or land contract. That's what I specialize in. That's what I'm becoming an expert in, and I'm doing these deals over and over and over with repetition and becoming a master at land contracts. So I can make money on them hand over fist, so I can teach this subject, so I can inspire others to make money with the same strategy, and then I'll move on to other strategies. Anyway, what I did next was found a buyer. I asked for $5,000 down, $600 a month, and $38,000 is what I asked for the property. So I found a buyer. She said she had $5,000 down, and we negotiated on the monthly, and $38,000 was the total price she said she could pay. When I got to the property and started showing it to her, even before closing, I got caught inside. The realtor let me in, but I got caught inside by the homeowner. Well, as you can expect, that's a problem. So I found a solution by talking my way out of it with the homeowner, because she was mad we were in there before closing. But I straightened that out, smoothed it out, and talked to the buyer outside. The buyer told me they didn't have the $5,000 down, and I'm like, oh no, not another problem. So at that time when I first started, I was not very good at negotiation, and I was learning very quickly, because problems were hitting me left and right. So I was learning how to deal with them. Anyway, I asked them, I overcame the problem by saying, what do you have the trade for this for a down payment? I said, do you have a car, boat, truck, motorcycle, whatever you have, tell me about it, and see if I can work something out. Well, lo and behold, they had a double-wide manufactured home that they were living in, a mobile home park that their mother had bought free and clear a couple years ago before this deal, and was basically fairly new. And the people, why they were selling it is they got in an argument with the park owners and had to move out. And when they move out, they obviously got to still pay rent if they don't sell it. So I was in a position where I said, if it's in the shape you say it's in, I'll take $20,000 off the $38,000 that I'm asking, which will leave $18,000 left, and we'll work out a deal. So we worked out a deal. I made it happen. I got the double wide in on trade, sold that double wide within 2 weeks for $23,000, paid that house off that I just bought free and clear, and they had $18,000 left to pay me with 8% over the next few years. So that worked out perfect. We went to closing, everything went smooth, and not everything, I guess. Not everything went smooth. We ran into a bunch of other snags, but I worked it out, having the mindset to find solutions to problems. And they defaulted on their loan anyway. They defaulted on the loan, and I don't want to go into everything because it's going to be too long, but you can check this out on dg.com and really read it over and check out what I made happen. Long story short, they defaulted. Instead of taking the house back, I showed them how they could land contract to somebody else and finish paying me off, plus make some money. I taught them how to do that. They did that. They found another buyer, so that would be buyer B. The girls, two girls bought it from me. That's buyer A. The people who bought it from her is buyer B. So buyer B pays me off as much what was owed to me, and then we're at the position right now where they didn't want the house anymore, and they still owed $16,000 to buyer A. So they didn't have the money to pay her off. So I helped buyer B get the money to pay buyer A off through a bank that I deal with, because she could not find a bank anywhere. And through my script on how to find banks, and through my experience working with banks, I have a good rapport. I built an excellent relationship with a local bank that I have. I got her the money for that house to pay her off, get her out of that situation. I was paid off, so I was going to turn the deed over to buyer A because I was paid in full. Well, buyer B, after getting the money from the bank and ready to pay buyer A off on her contract, 16 grand left, she took that money I helped her get about a different house. Can you believe that? That's the position I was in. I'm like, I helped you out, so now look what you've done. Well, after negotiating and listening to her problem was she really needed a bigger house because her dad was sick and she needed to take care of him, and the house was too small for her dad to move in with her. So after listening to that, I felt, I could feel for her. I cared about the situation. If I hadn't listened to the situation, I would have just turned the deed over to buyer A and not worried about buyer B, because I tried to help her and she didn't respond the way that I thought she should have from helping her. But after I listened to her and listened to her problem and situation, and after caring about the situation, I knew I could come up with a solution for her and for buyer A and for myself. Buyer B, what she wanted to do when she bought that other house was she in turn also found another buyer for a land contract from her. Well, now that's 3 land contracts in this deal that is getting pretty messed up. So after I showed her how to do that, she went and found a buyer that had $3,000 down, $600 a month, that would buy that house for $35,000. But buyer A would not let her do that. So to make a long story short, I've already said this twice, but it's still a long story. What I did was talk to all 3 and negotiated to pay buyer A $10,000 cash if she would forego the debt of buyer B, the 16 grand. She said yes. I said to buyer B, I will give you some money for your troubles and because you found a buyer for me. I said, what do you want? She told me she wanted $5,000 down. Well, she asked me if I would give her $5,000 for finding that buyer because she had a bunch of money tied up paying me. She didn't want to walk away from it. I said, well, you wouldn't have had to walk away from it if you would have taken the money that I helped you get through the bank and paid buyer A off. She said, I know, but the situation with my dad, I just had to get a bigger house and help him out. So I said, okay, what I'll do is I will give you the $5,000, and under the circumstance that the buyer that you found gives me, we write up a contract and I can take their $3,000, I can sell when I buy this house back for 10 and give you 15 actually I'm giving for this house back to me. Actually, it's still in my name, so we just have to put the paperwork to clear up all the mess of a paperwork. Actually, it's not a mess. It's if you sit down and figure out and write down how it goes, it comes out pretty clear. It's pretty easy. If I can have them give me a non-refundable down payment of the $3,000 that they said they would, I'll make this deal happen. So I called the attorney and talked to him, told him all about it. This is all in the same night. Made the deal happen. The next day, the buyer came, gave me $3,000. Actually, yesterday, within 2 days, I had $3,000 in my pocket. We haven't done the contract yet. It's just a non-refundable $3,000 until I get all this paperwork straightened out, which will be the end of this week. I just called the attorney. It's all going to happen within the next few days. It's very little paperwork, he said, and it's all because of listening, learning about the situation, and controlling the negotiation, controlling what is going on. They even talked to each other through text messages and started arguing back and forth because nothing was written yet. And I stopped all of that and just told them that everything was going to work out. We'd take care of everything. So that's what happened. It's still in the process right now, but I think the end of this week is supposed to happen, so I'll keep you involved in the situation. I know this video is long, but read on DG how it went, and any questions, ask me. I'll be glad to give them to you. Make something happen, guys.